Good morning, Rick. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Keith, but you're doing extremely well because you're in Marin County today, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's nice being out here in this area of the country, man. You see that nice little sunrise back there?
Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous, baby.
Yeah, it is, man. You look like you got some winter clothing on there.
I do. It's because my shirt is so dirty and I was too lazy to take it off and put on a new one. I just threw this on top.
Oh, perfect, man. That works too, man. There's no
No,
difference.
actually, Sonoda's a little chilly nowadays. Well, I think we're down to like early 40s, 42, 43 this morning. So I like to keep the windows open. So got to wear the shirt.
Yeah, I like that, man. So the topic of today's podcast is what's the film on you over the last few years? What's the
Oh,
film on you over the last few years? And I'll tell you what inspired this, man. I'm always, just trying to be a student and just be really aware and find lessons that really help me stay, I guess, inspired. I stay pretty inspired, but I'm always open to being inspired more by other people's experiences. So I was listening to interview with this basketball athlete named PJ Tucker, and he played in Phoenix for a while, but he most recently won an NBA championship with another team, and so he's I like him. He's really known for his tenacious defense, and he brings that kind of edge. Well, he was an All-American basketball player for the University of Texas during his collegiate years. And I think he played for the Toronto Raptors in his rookie year. During his rookie year, he was used to being like the man on the team when he was in college. Like the offense flowed through him. He scored a lot. He was the person.
mhm.
And then he goes off to the pros and like everybody's good. And so and the coach didn't play him the way he thought he should have been played. There were guys better than him. And so he would show up to practice like barely on time or late. And this behavior just kept going on. And he says like I had, no I didn't care. He said I did not care about any of that. And he's within his first year. And so one day they pull him aside, and this was right before I think they were getting ready to go to the playoffs. And they pull him to the side. They call him into the office, and they call him in. And in the office, no, they call him into like some big conference room. And in this conference room, there's a big TV monitor that's set up, a huge monitor, and the GM, the coaches are all there, and they say, "Come on in." They sit down and they have him watch his game film,
Oh my gosh. Wow.
the game film over the last year. And he said he's never told this story before. And clip after clip after clip, they show him coming in to practice late. They show him at games on the bench, not being interested, not being with the team, talking, not cheering on his teammates. They show him with all this kind of behavior that he's like, man, he's like, that was so embarrassing the way that I behaved and carried on. And he was embarrassed by it. I mean, completely embarrassed by it. And it just showed him not at his best. And so they cut him but they showed him the game film because they've been having conversations with him along the way about his behavior, how to be a pro, a professional. They showed him all these things. He just wasn't having it. And so when they showed him his game film, there was no argument. They're like, you look, they didn't say anything. So he got cut. He went immediately. There were some teams that were interested in him. He said, no, I got to get out of here, out of the NBA. So he didn't want to wait around, and he went overseas and he played basketball. And over there, he won like MVP a couple of years of the league. He was a leading scorer over there overseas. And then he got the call to come back. And so he came back. He was a completely different person from that experience. So it was a very humbling experience, but he was forced to watch his game film. And I just thought that was so interesting, man. And I look back of all the suffering that I have experienced in my life. And a lot of it, well, let's be honest, all of it was self-inflicted with my negative thinking, thoughts, poor choices, unconscious behavior. Had someone called me in, Rick, to say, Come here, young fella. Let's sit you down. And there are some people that they may not even be young, right? Now they could be older, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70, whatever. And somebody just had enough love for you to pull you in and say, I want you to watch a game film here over the last few years. I mean, would that be a turning point for you, or not? I mean, for me back then, I've had people pull me to the side along the way and say, hey, Keith, once you consider this, I was so defensive whenever someone just, I don't know, man, no matter how they tried to do it, the slightest course correction that they would have offered, I would have been hostile to it. And that would have prolonged the suffering. But there were a few people that were really clear about what my interests were, what my goals were. And they were able to speak. They were able to meet me where I was, so that I could hear them, and then take different steps. You were one of those people that kind of pulled me to the side, and you just said, but you pulled me to the side by just kind of really showing me the way of how you were living your life, how you were approaching things. But I could have benefited from that greatly, man. But if someone were to pull my game film now, and they would show like how I lived the last 2 years, I'm like, yeah, baby, let's roll. Like where's the parade? Where's the parade? Because I'm really, really grateful for my game film based on the choices. Like I haven't spent, many moments stressed or anxious or obsessive thinking and ruminating. Behavior that I regret or should be different. I haven't spent a lot of time with that. I haven't been a troublemaker. And I am so grateful for that. And it's been the practice that has made that possible. I haven't lost sleep, like I said, stressed. When Mayo Clinic let me go for a year, I wasn't at night, like, how am I going to pay my mortgage? Oh my God, what am I going to do? I didn't have that. With the pandemic's happening, there's been election. I'm sleeping like a baby every night, not squandering 1 minute. I wasn't there yelling at somebody, why don't you have a mask on? Or you can't make me put a mask on. That's not my game film. That's not my game film, man. And I'm really, really pleased, Rick. I'm not superior or anything like that. I'm just so grateful that you and some other people have helped me get it. And so the game film I'm generating right now, man, it's pretty Rick, a lot of highlights. Very few lowlights, a lot of highlights. What about you?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it's the Keith Jones 2.0 highlight reel, right? The wide world of sports, if it still existed, would have you front and center on that in terms of how your life is being lived right now. The interesting thing is there are so many analogies that work for us in sports. Sports is a performance-based endeavor. And I think life is performance-based in the sense that what makes you sad and what makes you happy are things that you decide in your own head, right? So it's not like there's any game rules. You set your own game rules, and you also should be the one who's doing the monitoring of your game film. We all have that capability. I think when we're like infants up to about 10 or 12, our parents do a really great job of doing our game film for us. And then we get out of practice. We say, well, once we get the yoke of the authority off my back and I can live free, I'll be just wonderful. And it's just the opposite, because the structure goes away and you just do all this goofball stuff. It's like being dropped in the middle of a brewery. You think, oh my God, beer every day. But if you do beer every day, there's a consequence for that as well. So I guess what I would say is that I love the idea that PJ got straightened out just by looking at the evidence of his own foolishness, looking at the evidence of how you're sabotaging yourself, looking at the evidence of what gets in the way between you, inner peace, and happiness. And a game film is perfect. It's a perfect analogy for that. But, we don't have to be embarrassed about it. What we can do is sit down and do that game film, and in the privacy of our own heads, and decide if we're acting in conformity with the person that we want to be. Are we acting out Gandhi's notion of being the change that you want to be in the universe? You don't want to be judgmental? Work on that. You don't want to be a jerk about not performing and breaking all your commitments? Work on that.
Right.
But first you have to monitor. So the great thing about a game film is it's nothing but an enormously important monitoring device, that internal game film of what we're doing. There's an excess to it as well, though. A lot of folks are hung up on things that they can't change. So sometimes the game film becomes stuff about externals. The game film has to focus on your response to the externals, your response to how things, when they turn out bad, there is no bad, there is no good, really. I mean, except for the value you place on it. But if you are looking consciously to be a better person and to be a superior consciousness involved person, where you're in tune with the higher levels of things like compassion and understanding of others and service, those things, game film is easy to make on those, man.
Yeah, it really is, Rick, man. You were dropping some knowledge there, man. I totally agree. I look at my friends, man, that just like you take, Mayo Clinic, man. I've got some great friends, from Julie Mulroy to Sherry to Donna. I mean, Brian Hardaway. I mean, they are just generating some fantastic game film. Our friend Draz. I mean, look at the game.
Draz is great, yeah.
Look at the game film he's generating right now, man. And
yeah.
My friend Jill Peterson, man, Megan Millett. I mean, Jana Husky. I mean, they are just generating some amazing game film for themselves and for their families, man, and all the people that they come in contact with. And I am just thrilled with this new footage. And what PJ does now, man, is for the young guys who come into the NBA, that he sees them starting to behave like he did. He tells them, like, hey, listen, there's a different way, and if you're not careful, they're going to be, they're going to ask you to leave. And my friend Matt says that, hey, listen, if you think a job or wherever you are isn't right for you, don't make them ask you to leave. If you're going to leave, fine, but don't make them ask you to leave. And so I look back at some of my game film from years ago before the practice, and man, Rick, again, not embarrassed by it, but man, what was I thinking? I guess I wasn't, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't conscious. And watching that game film can be really, really helpful, man. And I'm sure the same is true of you, because you generated, God, man, how long we've been friends? I just know that since we've been friends, the game film you've been generating has been unbelievable. I think we met in like 2007. And so your game film is just tremendous.
Well, thanks, Keith, but you're giving me way too much credit. I struggle every day with trying to put a lid on my judgmental natural self. As soon as the monitor goes off, I'll find something to bitch about. I will. And the point I'm trying to make is that it never stops. That's why it's called the practice. It's not called the arrival. It's the practice. It's a daily thing of assessing and changing and being mindful of the things that you do as a human being that get in the way of your happiness and your inner peace. And that's something that I think we've been harping on since the first show. And you can do it with grace, and you can do it with intelligence, and you can do it with a light heart. But the first step is to say, hey, I don't like what I'm doing right now in my life. I don't like how this is landing on me. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be fearful of life. I want to experience joy and love, and I want to give that back as well. But I can't do it if I'm compromised by constantly complaining about the way things are, the way other people are, or how life isn't fair. It's a dead end.
Yeah, and that was my game film, man. That was my game film.
It is for most of us. Yeah,
all the things that you said, man. It's like, man, okay, here comes Keith, man. He's walking into work. Oh God, Arizona summer is about to heat up. You guys got the camera.
Been on that squat rack a long time today, man.
Yeah.
The growth and squats.
Exactly. These guys are going on a ski trip. This should be a great time. The snow is less than what Keith expected it to be. Let's watch the game film here for guys. Camera going. Man, Keith is about to go through a breakup. Guys, you got the camera going. Is he mic'd up? Let's see how he handles this. I mean, just like, dude, it's every situation that came up. Like, how was this? Oh, somebody just walked in late. Let's see how Keith's game film is going to be on this one. And how's he going to handle it? Is he going to be peaceful? Is he going to give him grace? Is he not? Or is he going to make a problem out of it? Just left and right, man, all that game film. Now you watch the game film. Oh, it's summertime in Arizona. Is Keith going to complain about the heat? Oh man, we didn't hear one complaint this year. Oh man, somebody didn't do something that they said we're going to do. Is Keith going to let it go? Wow, he let that go too. Man, I'm generating new game film. They're throwing out different defenses on me, Rick. I'm just like, oh man, so
And you're winning because of it.
Yeah.
You're winning.
For all the reasons that you said, man, just being really aware and making a choice that I'm not living that way anymore. This is the most important thing, is I'm going to live like this way.
And it's great to be around you. It's great to have you on the team, right? That's what people want. They want to have friends like you. Well, be the friend that Keith is, right?
Oh, thanks, Rick. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
hey, I love you, buddy.
Okay. That was great. Enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.